Here on 910 a.m. the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Monday, December 7th, 2020, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing well today. Been a very busy Monday. It's been a lot going on, and if you have been following me on my Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, then you definitely know this. All right, so on tonight's show, we're going to we have a jam-packed show tonight, and if you heard my Sunday night show, you know our show was jam-packed also. We got the shocking news today that actress Natalie Desselle, who co-starred in the film B.A.P.s Black American Princess with Halle Berry, she passed away at age 53. So we'll talk some about that. And I was on Instagram. I think I first saw about it on Facebook, either Facebook or Instagram. And I saw a lot of people posting about it. So we shared a couple of articles, couple of posts about it. So we'll talk about that. And then today is the anniversary of the Vicksburg Massacre of 1874. The Vicksburg Massacre of 1874 in Vicksburg, Mississippi. Okay. And this was a massacre where you had the duly elected sheriff who was African American of this county. He was forcibly removed from office by white supremacists. This was in 1874 in Mississippi. This is known as the Vicksburg Massacre of 1874. And that took place on December 7th. So this is the anniversary of the Vicksburg Massacre. And it's estimated that 75 to 300 African Americans were killed in this massacre. All right. So we'll talk some about the Vicksburg Massacre. And then we have a lot to talk about. So some of these topics we're going to hit briefly. A Michigan judge throws out another frivolous Trump lawsuit and says nothing but speculation and conjecture. A Michigan judge throws out another frivolous lawsuit from the Trump campaign, who, and you got to go back and watch our show from Sunday night, because I talked about how a lot of these Trump supporters don't realize that wrestling is not real. And he's raising. So I heard the number today, $250 million Trump has raised since the November 3rd election, under the pretense of filing lawsuits and hiring and paying for attorneys to fight fraud in the election and overturn the results of the election. Okay. And the people who are donating this money are the same people who think wrestling is real. They're being conned. And they don't know that they're being conned. Now, we talked about the story last week where you had a Trump supporter, and the Guardian.com had this article. You had a big Trump supporter and Trump donor. This dumbass donated $2.5 million to a PAC to hire attorneys to overturn the results of the election. He realized he was being conned, and he's suing to get his money back. Read this article from theguardian.com. We talked about this last week on my show. Businessman Frederick Eshelman, Eshelman, businessman Frederick Eshelman sues pro-Trump election ethics group, citing disappointing results of effort to expose cheating. Now, the name of the article: Trump supporter who gave $2.5 million to fight election fraud wants money back. Trump supporter who gave $2.5 million to fight election fraud wants money back. This is from theguardian.com, November 28th, 2020. Okay. Now he has more sense than most of these people donating money to Trump because he realizes that he's being conned. They haven't figured this out yet. They still think wrestling is real. They haven't figured this out yet. So I wonder if people are going to sue to get their $40 and $50 back or get their $20 back or what have you. You know, it's just, I just sit back and look at this and I say, you can't, you really this stupid? I just sit back and listen. And then I just sit back and look at it. I'm like, damn, these people is this dumb. This is unbelievable. Okay. So, here in Detroit, we saw that Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson had to call the Detroit police and state police because you had Trump supporters outside her home in Detroit protesting. Some of them showed up armed, and they were protesting outside of her home, and they're talking about stop the steal, and they root out fraud and want to overturn the results of the election. And she's Secretary of the State of Michigan. Votes have already been certified in the state of Michigan, but these people haven't figured out wrestling is not real. Then we saw in the state of Georgia today, Georgia Secretary of State officially recertifies the results of election after 3 counts. Donald Trump still lost. And you got Trump supporters, oh, it was fraud, it was fraud. No, they just voted against Trump. You haven't figured this out. Wrestling is not real. You've been had, you've been conned, you've been led astray, bamboozled, run amok, made a damn fool out of. You haven't figured this out yet. It's been more than a month since election day in Georgia, and after a total of 3 vote counts, Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, who is a Republican and supports Trump, said it is officially certified. His office said Monday, December 7th, 2020, Monday afternoon, that the Secretary of State recertified the election results for a second time. Quote, the facts are the facts, end quote, Raffensperger told Channel 2 investigative reporter Justin Gray in a one-on-one interview, Channel 2 in Atlanta. This is courtesy WSB TV, Channel 2 in Atlanta. Now, President-elect Joe Biden won the state and national election with more than 7 million more total votes than Donald Trump. But Trump supporters claim fraud, but Donald Trump was the only candidate who encouraged his supporters to vote twice. That's illegal. But it was the other guy who committed fraud. It was the other party who committed fraud, not Trump. Okay. Now let me ask you a question. In the states that Donald Trump won, is he asking for a recount there? In the states Donald Trump won, is he talking about rooting out fraud in the states he won? Does he, if there was fraud, why you got what, 74 million votes? You don't think any of that was fraudulent? See, I asked this question a couple weeks ago, right? So let me get this straight. How's everybody doing? Everybody share this broadcast on your social media platforms, okay? We're gonna blow this up tonight, right? So let me get this straight. Democrats rigged the election for Joe Biden to win, but they let Senator Moscow Mitch McConnell win in Kentucky and possibly maintain control of the U.S. Senate. They rigged the election so Joe Biden would win, but didn't rig it so Mitch McConnell would lose. And Mitch McConnell was running against Amy McGrath in Kentucky. Democrats rigged the election for Joe Biden to win, but let Lindsey Graham beat Jamie Harrison in South Carolina for the Senate race in South Carolina. Democrats rigged the election for Joe Biden, but they let Cindy Hyde-Smith beat Mike Espy in Mississippi for the Senate race in Mississippi. Democrats rigged the election for Joe Biden, but didn't rig it so John Ossoff would beat Senator David Perdue, Republican, in Atlanta. Democrats rigged the election for Joe Biden, but didn't rig it so Raphael Warnock would beat Senator Kelly Loeffler in Georgia. See, it doesn't make any sense. He's lying and he's conning these dumbasses. Now, as far as I'm concerned, He can keep conning them. He can keep suppressing their vote in Georgia. Don't show up and vote in Georgia. Yeah, don't show up. You that stupid? Okay, you deserve what comes your way. If you're that stupid. But what I find interesting is this guy, businessman Frederick Eshelman, who's suing this pro-Trump elections ethic group for $2.5 million because he realized wrestling is not real. He realized he's been conned. He's being conned. The other ones haven't figured this out yet. Okay, maybe they'll figure it out. They get evicted from their homes or foreclosed on, or when they're standing in the food line and they're waiting for the results of a coronavirus test to come back because they can't get experimental drugs like Ben Carson got, and Rudy Giuliani, he's in the hospital. He'll probably get some experimental drugs. Maybe they'll figure this out when their health care has been taken away from them. Okay. And you know, and they're standing in the food line and all. Maybe they hit them then. That wrestling is not real, and you're being conned, and they're all in on it. Okay, tried to tell you, the chickens are coming home to roost. You're gonna believe me. You're gonna believe me one way or another. Everybody share this broadcast to your social media platforms. Okay, and for those Trump supporters that listen to the show. Listen 9, 10 a.m. Whatever you do, please don't take this ass whipping personally. Okay, just like the champ said in Harlem Nights before they had the big championship fight, and he beat the guy that almost beat the hell out of him. He said, "Whatever you do, please don't take this behind whipping personally." All right, well, but hey, the quote, the president of the United States, it is what it is. Okay, so it is what it is. All right, so Georgia's Secretary of State officially recertifies the results of the election after 3 counts. All right, then we see in Pennsylvania. I said, you know, I mean, to talk about criminal tendencies, I never read about a president this corrupt. This is probably the most corrupt president we've ever had in history. Trump asked Pennsylvania House Speaker for help overturning election results, personally intervening in a third state. And you got a bunch of Republicans just sitting back, just gagged and hear no evil, see no evil, you know, think no evil, have no fun, just silent. Trump, Washington Post. This is a break. We posted this article. People went crazy. We posted this on our Facebook fan page. Trump asked Pennsylvania House Speaker for help overturning election results, personally intervening in the third state. Now he had the leaders of the Republican state legislature here in Michigan at the White House because he wanted them to do the same thing. They basically told him, "Look, we can't do that. We don't have the authority to do that." What the hell's wrong with this guy? This is what I want to know. Oh my God. Donald Trump called the Speaker of the Pennsylvania House of Representatives twice during the past week to make an extraordinary request for help reversing his loss in the state, reflecting a broadening pressure campaign by Donald Trump and his allies to try to subvert the 2020 election result. He's spending more time trying to overturn the results of a lawful election than he is fighting coronavirus. He's spending more time trying to overturn the results of a lawful election than trying to fight coronavirus. The cause confirmed by House Speaker Brian Cutler's office make Pennsylvania the third state where Donald Trump has directly attempted to overturn a result since he lost the election to former Vice President Joe Biden. Now, interfering and trying to tamper with election results is illegal. This fool is trying to do that in 3 different states. and you still got people putting out videos talking about what Obama didn't do for black people. And this dumbass is trying to overturn the votes in states from African Americans. Trump previously reached out to Republicans in Michigan, and on Saturday, he pressured Georgia Governor Brian Kemp, Republican, in a call to replace the state electors. The president's outreach to Pennsylvania's Republican House leader came after his campaign and its allies decisively lost numerous legal challenges in the state, in both state and federal court. Trump has continued to press his baseless claims of widespread voter irregularities, both publicly and privately. But the problem is his followers are a bunch of idiots who still haven't figured out wrestling is not real. They don't realize all these people are in on it and they're conning you. And that's why they want you to keep donating money, so they can make money off of you being stupid. Quote, the president said, I'm hearing about all these issues in Philadelphia and these issues with your law, end quote, said Cutler spokesman Michael Straub, S-T-R-A-U-B, describing the House Speaker's two conversations with Trump. Quote, what can we do to fix it, end quote. Now, a White House spokesman declined to comment on the calls to Cutler, and the Trump campaign spokesman did not respond to a request for comment. I wonder why. They say, well, why can't you respond to comment? Cutler told Trump that the legislature had no power to overturn the state's chosen slate of electors, Straub said. But late last week, the House Speaker was among about 60 Republican state lawmakers who sent a letter to Pennsylvania's congressional representatives urging them to object to the state's electoral slate on January 6th, when Congress is set to formally accept the results. Now, the Electoral College votes December 14th. I never seen something like this. 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the calling number. Give us a call. Tell what the hell's wrong with this boy? This is what I want to know. You listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, Superstation Future Radio. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. All right. Hey, African-American business owners, post the name of your business here on the thread of the broadcast. Email us at customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com. Customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com. And we'll let you know how you can advertise with the African History Network also. For 25 years, the Black History 101 Mobile Museum has carried on the rich legacy of Black museum movement in America by showcasing original artifacts of Black experience at colleges, universities, K-12 schools, corporations, libraries, conferences, and cultural events, making it the most diverse Black history mobile exhibit in American history. Dr. Khalil Hakim is the founder of the Black History 101 Mobile Museum, and he is highly sought after public speaker on topics of Black history, social studies, education, museum studies, hip-hop, and race relations. Dr. Khalid was named among the change makers for NB Universal's Erase Hate campaign and listed as one of the 100 men distinction for Black enterprise. He recently founded the Michigan Hip Hop Archive on the campus of Western Michigan University. The Black History 101 Mobile Museum is currently scheduling in-person and virtual exhibits nationwide. For more information, please contact Dr. Khalil Hakim directly at 313-645-4197, 313-645-4197. Visit their website at blackhistorymobilemuseum.com, blackhistorymobilemuseum.com. You can also email him at bhistory101@yahoo.com, bhistory101@yahoo.com. Soul Natural Products offers organic plant-based skin and hair products that will rejuvenate skin and naturally grow and thicken hair. Their whipped shea butter can heal or restore damaged skin cells to prevent hyperpigmentation and skin breakouts. All of their products are made with organic plant-based ingredients. Their maximum hair growth oil is fortified with organic herbal extracts and undeniably proves that Mother Nature knows best. The maximum hair growth oil thickens, lengthens, softens, and conditions all types of hair. They even guarantee hair improvement within 90 days or a full refund. They also offer deodorant that leaves the body smelling fresh without sweating for up to 24 hours. It does not stain fabric. It goes on smooth and has a refreshing lavender and frankincense aroma. It can also be used by both men, women, and children. Place your order today at soulnaturalbeautyproducts.com. soulnaturalbeautyproducts.com. And follow them on Facebook at Soul Natural Beauty Products.
Do you have an idea or business that requires app development or thinking of moving your IT resources to the cloud? We have post-paid and profit-sharing plans for unique ideas or profitable businesses. Who can take advantage of this unique program? Entrepreneurs with unique ideas, startups, small to medium businesses. Contact us 267-209-0352.
Visit nomadicsystems.net, nomadicsystems.net today. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation, the Future Radio. Hey, I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Monday, December 7th, 2020, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing well. Calling numbers 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. Also, if you'd like this type of information, you can donate to the African History Network. $ the AHN show through Cash App. $ the AHN show through Cash App, and also through PayPal, paypal.me /the AHN show, paypal.me /the AHN show. Follow us on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and my YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP. Turn on notifications so you know when we go live. Okay. And let's see. Okay, so we've got that. All right. So on the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's correct wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you've been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. So when you control the radius of a man's thoughts, you can control the circumference of his actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. Now, we deal with a number of different topics here on the African History Network show. We deal with current events in history and politics, education, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, relationships, love, sex, health issues, and much, much more. Sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word KEMET, KEMET, to 22828. To sign up for our email newsletter, text the word KEMET, KEMET, to 22828. To sign up for our email newsletter. Also, visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. All of my DVD lectures are there, and digital downloads are at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. And then we're shipping out a lot of orders this week. And we are re-airing a lot of these shows and broadcasts on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, and my YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, also throughout the day. We're also broadcasting on 910 AM Superstation WFDF on their Facebook fan page as well. Download the iHeartRadio app. You can listen to these shows live. 910 AM Superstation WFDF on in Detroit on iHeartRadio, and also follow the African History Network show page on iHeartRadio as well, because we have a lot of these shows podcasted there as well. We're on 9 different audio podcast platforms. Okay, so I saw the news today that actress Natalie Desselle-Reid, who co-starred in B.A.P.s with Halle Berry and was on the TV show Eve with Eve. She passed away at age 53. BlackAmericaWeb.com has a good article. We posted this on our Facebook pages. Natalie Desselle-Reid, the charming actress who won hearts while starring in films such as B.A.P.s and Medea's Big Happy Family, as well as television series such as Eve and For Your Love, has passed away from colon cancer, TMZ reported. Holly Robinson Pete said, just absolutely decimating by this news. Actress Natalie Desselle, a bright shining star, passed away this morning. I got to know her when my mom was managing her. She will be so missed, sending out prayers to her children and husband, end quote. Now, in an official statement shared on Natalie Desselle-Reid's Instagram account, her family asked for privacy. They said, quote, it is with extremely heavy hearts that we share the loss of our beautiful Natalie this morning. She was a bright light in this world, a queen, an extraordinary mother and wife. Her diverse career touched so many, and she will be loved forever. Naturally, we are grieving and processing this profound loss as we thank you in advance for respecting our privacy at this extremely difficult time. Now, Natalie Desselle-Reid was born in Alexandria, Louisiana on July 12, 1967. Although she attended Grambling State University for 2.5 years, she found herself in Hollywood not long after, starring in a stage play of Bubbling Brown Sugar. Eventually, she found her initial break in California, starring in F. Gary Gray's hit 1996 film Set It Off, before she landed the role of Mickey in Robert Townsend's 1996 cult classic film B.A.P.s Black American Princess alongside Halle Berry. Later, she would star in the movie How to Be a Player alongside Bill Bellamy and Mary Morrow, as well as alongside Brandy in the made-for-television version of Cinderella. She also landed roles on series such as For Your Love and Eve. I remember her on Eve. And Eve ran for 3 seasons. Her last major role was in 2011 in Tyler Perry's Medea's Big Happy Family. She had recently promoted a stage adaptation of B.A.P.s to be produced by Jakarius Johnson. Natalie Desselle-Reid is survived by her husband, Leonard Reid, and their 3 children. Our thoughts and prayers and condolences to the family. This is from blackamericaweb.com, and definitely, I agree with those sentiments. It's a tragedy. And it was news1.com also has an article that talks about how Chadwick Boseman passed away from colon cancer as well. B.A.P.s star Natalie Desselle-Reid dead at 53. Let me see, is it this one here or is it another one? There's one by Bruce C.T. Wright that I saw. I think that was one that we posted on our Facebook page. He had one that talked about how that was the same thing that Chadwick Boseman passed away from. Yeah, there was the picture. Okay, colon cancer. Chadwick Boseman's death draws attention to disproportionate colorectal effect on Black people. Okay, so they were referencing the article that Bruce C.T. Wright wrote back August 31st, 2020, talking about the death of Chadwick Boseman. He passed away from colon cancer. All right, so check out this article here from blackamericaweb.com by Brandon Caldwell. B.A.P.s actress Natalie Desselle-Reid passes away. She was 53 years old. She was a beautiful sister. I always liked seeing her on the screen and on TV. And I didn't know she was battling colon cancer. Okay, so we'll post this article here on the thread of the broadcast. Try to check that out. Calling number 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. And okay, and then let me know if you have any callers. Shakita. All right, let's continue here. So we're going to talk about the Vicksburg Massacre in a few minutes here. Here in the state of Michigan, NBC News had this big article today. We posted this on our fan page, of course. He got a huge response. Nothing but speculation and conjecture. Nothing but speculation and conjecture. Judge swats down GOP lawsuit. Judge swats down GOP lawsuit to decertify Biden's win. Okay, to certify Biden's win. Another federal district judge on Monday dismissed a separate lawsuit filed by Trump supporter Sidney Powell. Okay. And another federal district judge on Monday dismissed a separate lawsuit filed by Trump supporter Sidney Powell in Georgia. So federal judges in Michigan and Georgia on Monday denied Republican efforts to undo the certification of President-elect Joe Biden as the winner of the presidential election, rejecting two of the lawsuits filed by President Donald Trump supporter Sidney Powell. Okay, federal judges in Michigan and Georgia on Monday, December 7th, denied Republican efforts to undo the certification of President-elect Joe Biden as the winner of the presidential election, rejecting two of the lawsuits filed by President Donald Trump supporter Sidney Powell. In the Michigan case, U.S. District Judge Linda Parker for the Eastern District of Michigan said the allegations of fraud were based on, quote, nothing but speculation and conjecture, end quote, nothing but speculation and conjecture. She added that the closest the lawsuit got to alleging that ballots cast for Trump were changed by the voting machinery to vote for Biden is the statement in an affidavit, or as lady on Saturday Night Live said, an after David. Okay, Cicely Strong. Okay, as she said, an after David. We talked about that on the show on our Sunday night show. Okay, that was hilarious. That skit from Saturday Night Live. Read the article from Detroit News. After David, SNL spoofs Michigan House election hearing. Okay, and she was portraying Melissa Carone, who was a Dominion voting systems contractor who worked the election in Detroit. And that video of Melissa Carone testifying in front of the Michigan House hearing, that went viral. That was ridiculous also. So U.S. District Judge Linda Parker for the Eastern District of Michigan said the allegations of fraud were based on nothing but speculation and conjecture. She added that the closest the lawsuit got to alleging that ballots cast for Trump were changed by the voting machinery to votes for Biden is this statement. It is the statement in the affidavit, quote, I believe some of these workers were changing votes that had been cast for Donald Trump and other Republican candidates, end quote. I believe. They didn't provide any evidence. I believe. Okay. I believe some of these workers were changing votes that had been cast for Donald Trump and other Republican candidates. Where's all this evidence that Rudy Giuliani's been talking about? Where's all this evidence? But the judge said, quote, a belief is not evidence. A belief is not evidence and falls short of the kind of allegation necessary to support the motion to undo certification. The claims amounted to, quote, an amalgamation of theories, conjecture, and speculation that such alterations were possible, end quote, she said. Now, Judge Parker was also harshly critical of the plaintiffs, Trump presidential electors, for waiting so long to file the lawsuit. Judge Parker was also harshly critical of the plaintiffs, Trump presidential electors, for waiting so long to file their lawsuit. Quote, this ship has sailed. She said, adding that the lawsuit was, quote, moot well before it was filed on November 25th, end quote. The electors could have taken advantage of the procedures spelled out in state law to the electors could have taken advantage of the procedures spelled out in state law to challenge an election or alleged misconduct or a failure of vote counting systems, the judge said, yet they sat back and did nothing. Not only that, but the electors failed to make a case that their claim of vote dilution, which is meaning that the impact of their votes was watered down by counting improper ballots, would be redressed by having a federal judge decertify the results, the judge said. Quote, the harm of having one's vote invalidated or diluted is not remedied by denying millions of others their right to vote, end quote, she said. In Georgia, District Judge Timothy Batten, B-A-T-T-E-N, for the Northern District of Georgia, said the plaintiffs in that case were wrong to ask him to rule on what was essentially state law claims. Okay? District Judge Timothy Batten for the Northern District of Georgia said the plaintiffs in that case were wrong to ask him to rule on what were essentially state claims. He said, quote, they asked the court to order the Secretary of State to decertify the election results as if such a mechanism exists. And I find that it does not, end quote, he said. Judge Batten also said the lawsuit sought a sweeping order invalidating the election results. Judge Batten went on to say, quote, they want this court to substitute its judgment for that of 2.5 million Georgia voters who voted for Joe Biden. And this I am unwilling to do, end quote. They're going to court to ask the judge to do stuff that the judge didn't have the power to do. Ask the judge to do stuff that's illegal. Just dumb. And they're being funded by people who don't realize wrestling is not real. Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, who recertified Joe Biden's election victory in the state Monday, December 7th, said in response to the dismissal of the case that it was, quote, an important day for election integrity in Georgia and across the country, end quote, referring to Attorney Sidney Powell's vow to, quote, release the Kraken, end quote, with her lawsuits. Raffensperger, Secretary of State Raffensperger, who's a Republican, said those claims proved to be as mythological as the creature for which they're named. Georgians can now move forward knowing that their votes and only their legal votes were counted accurately, fairly, and reliably, end quote. Now, Donald Trump and other Republicans have filed dozens of lawsuits. It's 50, around 50, it's about 50 now. They've only won one. And that was in Pennsylvania. That was just dealing with how close poll watchers could be to the people actually counting the votes, the poll workers. All this other stuff been thrown out. Where's the mountains of evidence? They're not providing any. They're lying. They're lying. Trump and other Republicans have filed dozens of lawsuits across the country in an attempt to contest the election results. Most of the lawsuits have been shot down or withdrawn because it's ridiculous. You got people who show up outside of Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson's home talking about stop the steal and fraud and all this other stuff. We look at clickondetroit.com, Channel 4 here in Detroit, Click on Detroit, and Free Press and News. Detroit News had an article about this today. Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson says armed protesters gathered outside her Detroit home. State police, Detroit police, respond to report of protesters on Saturday. Now, this article is from December 6th, Sunday, December 6th. Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, who's on MSNBC today talking about this, says armed protesters were gathered outside of her home this weekend. On Saturday, December 5th, Michigan State and Detroit police responded to a report of several armed protesters gathered outside of Benson's home. On behalf of Benson, department spokesperson Jack Rollo, Rollow, shared the following message Sunday regarding the incident. Let's be clear. Secretary Benson just oversaw the largest and most secure election in our state's history by standing armed outside the home where she raises her child. She has a 4-year-old son. These individuals do not threaten her. They threaten to silence all voters across the state. Secretary Benson will continue to use every tool at her disposal to protect the voters and voices of the 5.5 million Michigan citizens who cast ballots in this election, and she would have done so no matter the president they had selected. The voters have spoken, and their will has carried the day. That's the end of the statement. Now, police do not currently know what the protest was about. It isn't clear if law enforcement will take any further action. Governor Gretchen Whitmer tweeted Sunday night, Governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer tweeted Sunday night, quote, threats against our elected officials, no matter their party, are dangerous and unacceptable. This must stop, end quote. Let me see here. Okay. So check out the rest of this article here. And there was a video that somebody shot of the protesters out there talking about stop the steal and fraudulent votes and all this nonsense. Just nonsense. All right. Okay, let's go to the Vicksburg Massacre of 1874. The Vicksburg Massacre of 1874. We posted an article today from the Equal Justice Initiative, EJI.org, and also we posted one from blackamericaweb.com also, blackamericaweb.com. So never forget the Vicksburg Massacre lynched dozens of African Americans defending black sheriff in Mississippi. Never forget the Vicksburg Massacre lynched dozens of African Americans in Vicksburg, Mississippi. Okay, so that's the article from blackamericaweb.com. And then there was one from EJI.org, the Equal Justice Initiative, that we posted, and that got a big response also. Okay. So as I've talked about before, oftentimes when you have these, when you have these race riots that take place and massacres, things like that, they surround a few things. It could be political issues, voting rights, things like that, or African Americans trying to exercise their right to vote. It could be over economic issues, employment, competition for jobs, white people jealous of prosperous African American business owners. And it can be over sex, okay, over African American men who were accused of having sex with white women, raping white women, things like that. A lot of times the sex was consensual. And she got caught and lied and told her brothers or husband or father or what have you. But we look at this article here from EJI.org. Violent white mob massacres black citizens at political meeting in Mississippi. Now, on December 7th, 1874, white mobs attacked and killed dozens of black citizens of Vicksburg, Mississippi, who had organized a political meeting in support of a duly elected black sheriff who had been improperly removed from office, during the Reconstruction era that followed emancipation and the Civil War. Reconstruction 1865 to 1877. Black Mississippians made progress toward political equality. Despite the passage of black codes designed to oppress and disenfranchise, African Americans in the South under the protection of federal troops in place to enforce the newly established civil rights of African Americans, many African American men voted and served in political office on federal, state, and local levels. In the 1870s, Peter Crosby, a formerly enslaved African American man, was elected sheriff in Vicksburg, Mississippi. But shortly after taking office, Sheriff Crosby was indicted on false criminal charges, and a violent white mob removed him from his position. On December 7th, 1874, African American citizens in Vicksburg, Mississippi, organized an effort to try to help him. They organized an effort to try to help Mr. Crosby regain his office. In response, white mobs attacked and killed dozens of African American citizens in an act of racial terrorism. Which would later become known as the Vicksburg Massacre. The Vicksburg Massacre on December 7th, 1874. Now, following this brutal attack, federal troops were sent to Vicksburg, Mississippi, and Mr. Crosby was appointed as sheriff again. However, in early 1875, a white man named J.P. Gilmer, Gilmer, was hired to serve as Sheriff Crosby's deputy. After Sheriff Crosby tried to have Mr. Gilmer removed from office, Gilmer shot Sheriff Crosby in the head on June 7th, 1875. Okay, Sheriff Crosby was African American. Mr. Gilmer was arrested for the attempted assassination, but never brought to trial. Mr. Crosby survived the shooting, but never made a full recovery. Sheriff Crosby survived the shooting, but never made a full recovery, and had to serve the remainder of his term through a representative white citizen. The violence and intimidation tactics utilized by white Mississippians intent on restoring white supremacy soon enabled forces antagonistic to the aims of Reconstruction and racial equality to regain power in Mississippi. So that's the piece from EJI.org, Equal Justice Initiative, dealing with the Vicksburg Massacre of 1874. If we look at the article from blackamericaweb.com quickly, they talk about how on this day in history, up to hundreds of African Americans were lynched for coming to the defense of the first black sheriff in a Mississippi county in 1874. The carnage was called the Vicksburg Massacre, named for the town in which it took place. Vicksburg was part of Warren County. Vicksburg was part of Warren County Sheriff Peter Crosby's jurisdiction. Okay, this took place in Warren County. But the racist white men living there didn't like having an African American man as his top law enforcement officer, and forcibly removed him. Now, they cite the Zen Project, Z-I-N-N, the Zen Education Project. And they have a good article dealing with this also. When they finished with Peter Crosby, so Crosby was a former slave and fought in the Union Army, which further enraged the group that the Vicksburg Post, the newspaper there, kindly referred to as an angry mob. When they were finished with Crosby, they went after Vicksburg's African American residents. The Zen Education Project, a nonprofit organization that promotes teaching history, estimated anywhere from 75 to 300 African Americans were killed. Estimated that anywhere from 75 to 300 African Americans were killed or lynched. A violent, hateful term that does not only refer to hangings, which is true. Now, let's see here. I'm going to skip over something that's redundant. Okay, we talked about that. They cite the piece from the Equal Justice Initiative that I just cited also. Okay, I just want to make sure that I got information that was not already covered. So check out this piece dealing with the Vicksburg Massacre of 1874 in Vicksburg, Mississippi. Okay. All right. And let me just check here. We had a bunch of topics to get through, and I think I got through all of them. We talked about Washington Post. Okay, well, let's do this. Quick update on coronavirus. We see that we're at close to 15 million cases of coronavirus. Let me do a quick refresh here. Looking at the updates from the Washington Post. How's everybody doing? Everybody share this broadcast on your social media platforms. Invite your friends to tune in also. We didn't have any callers, Shakita. And then if you like this type of information, also you could donate to the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, and also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show. Let me see if I can scroll quickly here to the updates. Now we're here Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time. The African History Network show. Washington Post has a good article. We may talk about this in the next few days. Amid history of mistreatment, doctors struggle to sell Black Americans on vaccine. Amid history of mistreatment, doctors struggle to sell African Americans on vaccine. And it talks about the distrust that many African Americans have of the medical industry, okay, of medicine, things like this, because of the historic mistreatment, experiments done on African Americans, not just the Tuskegee experiment, because a lot of people, Tuskegee experiment was bad, but they did not inject African Americans with syphilis, as I've talked about before. I've actually studied the Tuskegee experiment of untreated syphilis on the Negro male. There were 600 African-American men in the study. 399 of them had an early form of syphilis called latent syphilis, where you have syphilis, but you don't have any symptoms. Okay. 201 men in the study did not have syphilis at all. They were the control group. Okay. The control group is the group that you compare the other group to that you actually do the experiment on. All right. So they were denied, the 399 men who actually had syphilis, they were denied treatment even when penicillin in the 1940s, when penicillin became the cure for coronavirus, they were still denied treatment. They were told they had bad blood. They were given placebos, things like this. Okay. But they were not injected with syphilis. That's just urban myth. That's not true. All right. But, you know, you had experiments like the mustard gas experiment on soldiers in World War II, and African American soldiers who were exposed to mustard gas, and they were compared to the white soldiers who were not exposed to it. I've talked about that. I did a whole lecture dealing with the history of the Tuskegee experiment of untreated syphilis of the Negro male. It was started in 1932. U.S. Public Health Service Department of the U.S. government. It's supposed to last between 6 to 9 months. Ended up lasting 40 years. Okay, so let me see here. So that's why you have to do research. Okay, because I see memes floating around that are just false and don't cite any sources. Washington Post has a good article dealing with bad blood and dealing with the whole history of the Tuskegee experiment. But some of the apprehension is warranted and some is just misinformation. Now, early on, keep in mind, right? Early on, you had all these people. It's supposed to be so smart, all this stuff. All these conspiracy theories they were pushing early on. They said African Americans couldn't get coronavirus and weren't dying from it. Okay. Early on. Remember that? All that BS was floating around. Some of those people aren't with us anymore, but you know, and then now, okay. So now that we disproportionately get it, now they come with something else. All right. Millions of Americans who have lost their jobs during the pandemic have fallen thousands of dollars behind on rent and utility bills. This is a piece from the Washington Post as well. Millions of Americans are heading into the holidays unemployed and over $5,000 behind on rent. They're going to have to come with pass a bill very quickly in the between the Senate and the House, even though the House passed the bill May 2020. The $3.4 trillion HEROES Act, and it's stuck in the Senate. Okay. All right. Look, we got to get out of here. If you'd like this type of information, you can donate to the African History Network, $sign the AHN Show through Cash App and through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show. Visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Remember, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. Stay tuned for Greg Davis. And we'll talk to you tomorrow night. Peace. All right, everybody. We got to get out of here. So we'll talk to y'all tomorrow night, okay? All right. Thanks for tuning in. Check out the rebroadcast on our Facebook fan page, the African History Network. And you email us at customer service at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. And you can advertise with the African History Network as well. African American business owners, email us at customer service at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We'll let you know how you can advertise with the African History Network as well. And we create a video commercial for you and an audio commercial, no additional charge. And your video commercial runs during the rebroadcast of these shows when we rebroadcast them on our social media platforms. And we're on 9 different audio podcast platforms: iTunes, Castbox, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, TuneIn. So your audio commercial will be in the audio podcast of our shows also. All right, we got to get out of here. Talk to y'all later. Peace. Are you ready for a new black economy? Well, B.A.P.s, The Role of Economics in the Development of Civilization, is a brand new documentary that will set you on a new path of knowledge and enlightenment. The B.A.P. film gives viewers a snapshot of our economic history from the dawn of civilization right up until the line theme of the film is the relationship between the essential components of economics, politics, and culture. B.A.P. brings together the brightest and most prolific minds in the field of psychology, history, business, and politics, such as Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Professor James Small, Dr. Julie Malveaux, Dr. Zahi Hawass, and Jabari Osazi, and more. Together, they deliver a message of cooperative economics, financial independence, and a pride that we can all be inspired by. The film is on sale now. It's streaming on digital formats, or for DVD, put B.A.P, HAPI, HAPIFilm.com. Use offer code HAPIHN for a 10% discount. Soul Natural Beauty Products offers organic, plant-based skin and hair products that will rejuvenate skin and naturally grow and thin hair. Their whipped shea butter can heal or restore damaged skin cells to prevent hyperpigmentation and skin breakouts. All of their products are made with organic, plant-based ingredients. Their maximum hair growth oil is fortified with organic herbal extracts and undeniably proves that Mother Nature knows best. The maximum hair growth oil thickens, lengthens, softens, and conditions all types of hair. They even guarantee hair improvement within 90 days or a full refund. They also offer deodorant that leaves the body smelling fresh without sweating for up to 24 hours. It does not stain fabric. It goes on smooth and has a refreshing lavender and frankincense aroma. It can also be used by both men, women, and children. Place your order today at soulnaturalbeautyproducts.com. soulnaturalbeautyproducts.com. Follow them on Facebook at Soul Natural Beauty Products.
Do you have an idea or business that requires app development or thinking of moving your IT resources to the cloud? We have post-paid and profit-sharing plans for unique ideas or profitable businesses. Who can take advantage of this unique program? Entrepreneurs with unique ideas, startups, small to medium businesses. Contact us 267-209-0352.
Visit nomadicsystems.net, nomadicsystems.net today. Have you tasted the world famous No Frowny Brownie yet from the Pink Bakery? If not, what are you waiting for? They are vegan, gluten-free, and free of the big 8 allergens. While eating their No Frowny Brownies, the fabulous Miss Tabitha Brown said they were very good. Very good. And you know, if she says that, they are. The Pink Bakery is the first black-owned Big 8 allergen-free baking mix company. Go to thepinkbakery.com, that's thepinkbakery.com, to order their No Frowny